Well, hey friends, how's it going? Happy Tuesday. If you're joining us on the replay, happy replay day as well. Welcome. New week, new shows. We're live and I'm excited to have you be a part of today's level of conversation.
Welcome to Level Up with Winnie Sun.
Hello, I'm Winnie, your host and Forbes contributor, CNBC council member, and award-winning financial pro, here to keep you on top of relevant, trending business news. And more importantly, as you know, you're part of today's discussion. So big hello and welcome to, I see CrossX Fighter, I see Joshua joining us from YouTube Live, I see Minnie as Modern Mom. Thank you so much for being here with us. It's great to have you here with us. And of course, we're always monitoring your comments and feedback. So don't be shy. Let us know where you're joining us from. And especially, as I go through the different discussion points, if there are things that you have questions on or things you would love to learn more about, definitely, submit them in comments or go ahead and direct message them to me as well. I'd love to hear from you. So let's talk about the market. Let you know how it closed. It's interesting. It's been an interesting week. A lot of stuff's happening and a lot of news coming out from Washington, D.C. But unfortunately, today was a triple down day. Dow closed down 117 points. The NASDAQ down 20 points. The S&P tied up also down 10 points. So as you remember, October is generally, historically, a very volatile month. We're going to see a lot of up and down swings. And as you know, it's one of the most volatile months of the year. Additionally, the market really hasn't had a tremendous pullback. So we are sort of overdue because historically, on average, most years, there's usually about plus or minus about 3 different corrections of between 5 to 7%. We haven't seen that yet. So let's see how the rest of the year unfolds. We have a lot of stuff going on. I'm excited to share with you on this very soon. In fact, this past Sunday, something fun to announce, Level Up. Here, our show, the full episodes are now being shared on the CW in San Francisco. So for those of you who tuned in from San Francisco, yet another way for you to catch Level Up. Now let's talk about something that my friend Lori Konish with CNBC shared today about the pandemic. I thought it was really interesting. She shared some survey results. It showed that 35% of Americans surveyed noted that they're changing their retirement date or age when they anticipate retiring. This is a survey conducted recently by Northwestern Mutual. So they're showing that because of the pandemic, because of COVID-19, there's been a financial boon for some. Some are actually doing better than expected, but it's also been very, very bad and a catastrophe for many others. So 24% of those surveyed indicated that they plan to retire later than they did before the pandemic. And then the other 11%, the other smaller percentage said that they plan to retire earlier. It could be financially, maybe they've done better during the pandemic. Or it could be just they're like, you know what, I just need to make a change. I plan to retire earlier because I want to, prioritize different things versus just saving a lot for retirement. It's really hard to say. But interesting enough, I thought the survey was really interesting of the dramatic number of increase during this pandemic and just the dramatic change it's been for so many people in their retirement planning measures. So I'm curious to see for those of you watching the last 18, 24 months through the pandemic, has it had a impact in how you foresee retirement? Do you foresee retiring later, like the higher percentage, or do you foresee retiring sooner? Now, I would have assumed that more people would think that they were going to retire later because, as we know, Social Security for many of our younger employees is destined to run out. There might not even be enough. So you have to save more for retirement, therefore perhaps prolonging your retirement. But others, I see a lot of people are just burnt out. So what does that mean? Does that mean because of that, you just want to get out when you can, maybe have a reduced level of retirement? I don't know. I don't know. I'm curious to see. And I want to say a big hello. I see Patricia Sommer from Facebook Live. It is wonderful to see you. And Vicky Gari from Facebook Live as well. Thank you so much. And those of you joining us on Twitter Live, thank you so much for joining us as well. We're not seeing your comments pop up. I'm definitely going to check that later on after the show runs as well. So let me ask you, I've been working on a whole series. I'm excited to be sharing this pretty soon on Forbes on really the future of work. And so what I kind of coined working diaries. Everybody has a sort of different definition. But I'm curious. You sometimes feel like working is a minority viewpoint. I mean, I've been feeling that reading financial news. Like you're literally the only person who is still working anymore. I feel that way. Reading all these reports of people retiring, quitting, unemployed, it's crazy. And especially since many people still haven't gone back into the workplace. They're not working standard traditional hours. Is sometimes, we feel like we're in a working vacuum. Now, there's those who work or maybe don't want to work or don't want to work at work, and then who just want to or have to quit. Right. So a lot of different scenarios. You sometimes think, well, who's actually working? Because we're still be able to buy things online. We're still able to go to the market. So is working become more of a minority? I mean, it's crazy. Well, today on CNBC, it was reported that there was a record 4.3 million workers have quit their jobs in August, just by last month. Just last month. And in fact, most people that quit last month were in the food and retail industries. So I'm curious to see, what this means in the future. Like, who's going to work? Obviously, we need to work to keep the economy growing, but there's so many changes, and it seems like there's definitely a shift and the future of work and what that looks like. So for those of you who are watching, I'm curious, number one, do you feel like sometimes you're the only person working? I feel that way quite often. And then number two, like, what does work look like to you in the future? Are you gonna reduce your hours? You're gonna increase your hours? Are you gonna like work in the office? You're gonna work from home? Like, what does this look like? It's very, very surprising. Very surprising. I know. And Alina Law, it's great to see you back. Alina, it's great to have you back. She's joining us from Facebook Live, and she says food will be more expensive. Food is everything. Yeah, food is getting more expensive. Gasoline, the cost of oil. In fact, I just read this week that gas in Manhattan, New York, is up over $5 a gallon. Let's talk about inflation. Inflation now reaching over 5 to 6%. It's crazy. It's crazy how much more expensive everything is becoming. So those of you who watched me on Fox Business earlier today, you saw Mike and I talking about that. It's crazy. Like, life is crazy now. But we've seen record levels of people now quitting their jobs, the highest level since late 2000s. And we're also seeing yet a decrease in people filing for unemployment. We saw that last week in last week's numbers. So I'm curious, okay, so a lot of people are not filing unemployment, which means that they're sort of working, but then we have a record number of people, Americans, that are quitting their jobs. And then we're having a higher percentage of people saying they're either going to have to extend their retirement, and a smaller percentage saying they're going to start retirement sooner. Yeah, it's kind of crazy. Crazy time. It's crazy time to be an employee, crazy time to be a manager, a business owner, employer, everybody combined. It's just kind of crazy, right? The whole concept of what's caused by this pandemic and work, it really boggles my mind. So employment vacancies fell by about 660,000 from July's number last month. This is according to the U.S. Labor Department as well. All right. Well, let's take a happy shift. I mean, it's already almost Halloween. In fact, Mike, who I was talking to earlier today on Fox, he was just saying, Winnie, I've been spending more money on Halloween decorations. And have you been seeing this trend in your neighborhood? And I have to say, driving around my neighborhood, I definitely see the Halloween decorations are looking really, really awesome. I mean, we've been kind of slow. We haven't done that yet. But are people spending more for these holidays, for decorations, for gifts, and whatnot? Well, one of the questions that Mike asked me earlier today is, should people shop earlier for the holidays this year? And my answer is, well, probably. And I would say probably for most, because number one, there's supply and demand issues or supply chain issues. So just something that you really want to purchase for a loved one or a friend or a colleague or whoever, then probably you're going to have a better chance of locating that item if you start earlier. The second thing is we also know that the US Postal Service recently upped the cost of shipping not only cards but also packages. They started early October, that extends all the way to December 26th. How convenient. It takes us right through the holidays and more so. But yeah, that's the thing, is that these things are costing so much money, so you got to prepare a little bit sooner than you would in normal years. Now, here's a couple suggestions I have for you. What I'm going to be doing myself, I'm going to get a little creative, and in fact, I've been doing a lot of research to make sure this was something that people wanted, but I think I'm going to give out a lot of virtual gift cards this year for family and friends who are out of town, maybe my kids as teachers, right? Because there's a better chance that they won't lose it if you ship it to them. And if they lost it, they don't get the email, you could resend it to them. Plus, I like this because it buys them time. So if, like, for example, let's say you have some money you want to buy a pair of Nikes for, right? Well, if you give them a Nike's gift card, they can wait until the item goes on sale, maybe supply chain issues improve, maybe a better design. It just gives the person who receives a gift a little bit more option. Maybe they can stretch that money a little bit farther. The other thing I would suggest is maybe just really looking local, right? Looking at areas where you can support perhaps restaurants, different small businesses, and focusing on experiences versus material goods. That's actually something I've been talking about for years now, but this is something that we really practice in my own house. I have three little kids, and our focus is on spending on experiences and less so on material goods. And I think that's good. It gives them a sense of really be able to embrace time together as a family, and they appreciate the little things. So when they get a little something, they get really excited. Awesome. I see Patricia. Patricia, let's see. Patricia's saying, I think we need the holidays to be a time of healing this year. Very good. Very good point. Let's all celebrate that. We absolutely need to have this as a time of healing this year. And I actually do think that everybody is struggling with something. They might not be sharing it online or social, even, even on a one-on-one conversation, but I believe everybody is going through something difficult. So just, having that sense of empathy and caring, I think is going to go a long way. CrossX Fighter is saying he's really excited, including Thanksgiving. Very cool. I'm excited about Thanksgiving. I'm thinking about this year of brining a turkey, like roasting a turkey. This is not my specialty, but I'm thinking I'm going to try this. I'm not sure yet. And Vicky is saying she is definitely shopping early for Black Friday sales. In fact, if you saw our episode last Thursday with my co-host, for The Loop, Greg Nibbler, where we started talking about Black Friday with Amazon deals and whatnot. So yeah, agree. These are all things that we need to think about. All right, let's continue on though, because I want to talk about something else that's big in the news, and I'm actually preparing more content around this, and that is the debt ceiling that you may have heard. Now, the House of Representatives is expected to vote today to extend the nation's debt limit through early December. Now, as you know, the Senate approved this measure last week. This was an attempt to make sure that, number one, the government didn't shut down, and also to avoid default and economic disaster. So what the estimate is now is they're saying that these are just estimates. We don't know for sure yet, but the estimate is that they're going to be increasing the debt ceiling here in the United States by 480 billion big ones, which means that basically the Treasury Department needs to get this done. They told Congress that Congress needs to approve this to get this done by December 3rd. But in its simplest forms, okay, as you know, the U.S. has always had the ability to borrow money because they spend a lot of money. And so periodically they have to adjust the debt ceiling amount. So right now the plan is, from what we can tell from Congress, it looks like it'll probably be increased by over $480 billion, plus or minus, I'm sure. But we'll see where that unfolds. We'll see more news out of that. But why that's very important is because although the debt ceiling may not feel like it impacts you, in most cases it probably does in one way or another, because without increasing the debt ceiling and allowing the US government to borrow more money in order to pay for things like federal employee payroll and Social Security payments and Medicare payments and those child tax credits and so many other government benefit programs that they have to pay for. So all eyes are on that. Really pay attention to that, because if there's bad news or shaky news or uncertainties regarding the debt ceiling, you're almost guaranteed to see some sort of volatility, okay, in the financial markets, which is not something we want to see, especially right before the holidays. So we'll see, because as of October 1st, 2021, the U.S. national debt stood at about $28.8 trillion, monies that we borrowed from various world international organizations, the Federal Reserve, the World Bank, countries such as China, mutual funds, and so many other places. So lots to be watching for, and especially for those of you who are investing and not sure how you're going to proceed going forward with the financial markets, how you're going to make the most of the end of 2021 here. Not to worry, I'm actually going to put together a seminar for my clients very soon on that exact topic to really get them up to speed and ready to go. So the debt ceiling that was actually created back in 1917, that is what we are looking at in the next coming days. So definitely pay attention. Now, let's segue to one more thing. Okay, something that I'm really excited to share with you. I should have done this a lot sooner, so I apologize for being late. But tomorrow, I want to invite you to join our hashtag Winnie Sun tweet chat. If you haven't done this before, you may have heard it on social media. It is definitely a really fun event. You definitely want to check it out. You can do so in the comfort of your pajamas or your work office or whatever work looks like for you. You just have to get in front of a computer, go to twitter.com, do a hashtag search for hashtag Winnie Sun. We start at 2 p.m. Eastern or 11 a.m. Pacific, and we would love to have you join us. We're featuring two powerhouse guests, my friends Dory Clark and Kate O'Neill. We're going to talk about the mindset reset, life-changing steps for long-term success. It's actually a perfect topic as we go into the end of the year, as we go into the new year in just a few months here, really getting that mindset reset done. So I'm excited to have you be a part of that. So if you're around tomorrow, just jump in on your computer. We're going to share out about 10, 12 some questions, and then the experts are going to contribute their answers. You can also jump in the conversation as well. You just answer the question, add a hashtag Winnie Sun, and you can be part of that conversation. It's so much fun. I always say we actually attract the nicest people on social media. So definitely join us. We would love to have you. So tomorrow, once again, it'll be on twitter.com, hashtag Winnie, search for hashtag Winnie Sun. It'll be 2 p.m. Eastern or 11 a.m. Pacific if you're joining me here on the West Coast. And we would love to see you there. It's so much fun. Wednesdays are always so much fun. So I'm hoping we get a chance to do that. And if you want a special bonus, you can then join us on Twitter Spaces, which is their audio version of Twitter, half an hour after the tweet chat. And then you can hear and you can actually engage directly with the expert panelists too. So yeah. Fun day, fun week. This is going to be a fun week. So thank you so much, my friends, for watching, supporting our program. Please take a moment to share the show with someone that you care about. And as a reminder, you can find full episodes on Level Up, on NASDAQ, Amazon Fire, Roku, and now also on the CW San Francisco. Be well, and I can't wait to see you again tomorrow. Take care now.